Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this evening I've chosen an interesting verse. I hope you like it. Well, you have to like it because it's Srimad Bhagavatam, Grantaraj, the king of all scriptures. First canto, chapter 6, verse number 2. I'll just chant myself here. Vyasa uvacha bhikshubir vipa vashtite vigan destribish tava vata mano vyavas adhe tata kim akarod bhavan. Srila Vyasadeva said, "What did you, Narada Muni, do after the departure of the great sages who had instructed you in scientific transcendental knowledge before beginning of your present birth?" Purport: Vyasadeva himself was the disciple of Naradaji, and therefore it was natural to be anxious to hear what his spiritual master Narada did after initiation from his spiritual masters. He wanted to follow in Narada's footsteps in order to attain the same perfect stage of life. This desire to inquire from the spiritual master is an essential factor to the progressive path. This process is technically known as Sadharma Parichaya. Umagyan Timidandasya Ganangana Shalakaya Chaksuramilitam Jena Tasmai Si Gurudeva Sri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Sva. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Gadadhar. So in this beautiful verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Vyasadeva, the literary incarnation of the Lord, is inquiring what Narada Muni, his spiritual master, after receiving Diksha or initiation, was doing. He's curious. His Guru Maharaj is Narada Muni, and he's asking, after my spiritual master took Diksha, initiation from the sages, what did he do? And I was thinking it's actually, you're almost out. It's natural for a disciple to be curious about what his spiritual master does in devotional service to the Lord. Why? Because in the eyes of the disciple, the guru is the best example of a devotee. That's why you've chosen Vaisheshika Prabhu or Radhanath Swami or Bhakti Vikas Maharaj or whoever as your Diksha Guru, because in your heart you feel that devotee is the best example of Krishna consciousness. There's that saying in English, follow the leader. So Krishna inspires you from the heart. All the spiritual masters are qualified. They're recognized by our governing board commission. But in your heart, Krishna causes you to choose this particular person. I often say that many devotees ask me, how do I know who is my spiritual master? They're all saying the same thing. But you'll know who your spiritual master is by the arrangement of the Lord, because when you hear him say the same thing, it will resonate with your heart, and you'll say, now I understand. Well, now I understand. Because you have to understand what your spiritual master is saying, otherwise what is the use of having a spiritual master? So the guru is the best example of a devotee for the disciple. The Vayu Purana puts it very nicely. Achintnoti ya shastratam acharya sta payat vapi svayam acharate bhasmat acharyas tena kritita. An acharya is one who fully understands the conclusions of the revealed scriptures and whose behavior reflects his deep realizations. He is a living example as he teaches the meaning of the scriptures, both by words and deeds. He's a living. We have the Bhagavad and we have the person Bhagavad. We have the Bhagavatam, it's our main scripture, but the Guru is the living Bhagavatam. That's the meaning of acharya. We generally use acharya in the terms of Srila Prabhupada, but it can also be used for any spiritual master. Prabhupada is the founding acharya of ISKCON. That's his preeminent ever title in this world. But acharya also can apply to any guru because you watch your guru how to live the Bhagavad. It's stated that one can become Krishna conscious just by the Bhagavad or just by having the person Bhagavad. They're so powerful. But if you have both, to use a common phrase, it's a double whammy. The Bhagavad and the person Bhagavad. So the disciple actually desires to be like his guru. What does Srila Bhaktivinoda sing? Guru Dev, Kripa Bindu Dia, Koro e Dhashe, Trinapeka Atihina, Shakala Sahane, Baladia Koro, Nijamane Sprihina. Guru Dev, give to the servant just one drop of mercy. I am lower than a blade of grass. Give me help, give me strength. Let me be as you are, without desires or aspirations. We need to see that. We can read about it, but seeing it is something very important. When I was doing a public speaking course in high school, the teacher said, show me, don't tell me. You have to be able to speak in such a way that you create a vision, that you don't, like a parrot, blah, 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 to speak in such a way that the people understand, they see what you're talking about. Show me, don't tell me. Show me some examples. So for the disciple, it's the living Bhagavad. He's a person. So it's essential to have a spiritual master because, okay, you can read the books, but we know how important it is to follow in the footsteps of the Mahatmas. So Srila Vyasadeva, he's naturally curious. What did my Guru Maharaj do after he got initiated? Narada Muni, what did he do? We know the story of Narada Muni. I was born, at least in this kalpa, as the son of a maidservant. She was a Sudrani, pious woman, but not so spiritually advanced. But as time would have it, his mother died of a snake bite, and then he was alone, and then he met the sages, and then he traveled, and then eventually he met his spiritual masters, and he became Narada Muni, the eternal spaceman. So that's something, but Vyasadeva, he really wants to know, just like Srila Prabhupada. It's not just to know that Srila Prabhupada is the preeminent Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We know he's a lover of God. For us, that's also a very important epitaph. He's a lover of God. He's a resident of Vrindavan. He's a Senapati, great general in the Sankirtan movement of Mahaprabhu. We'd like to know more about him. Therefore, after Prabhupada's departure, the GBC asked Satsvarup Goswami to write in detail about Prabhupada's life. And therefore we have Prabhupada Lilamrita. Thank Satsvarup Maharaj for that he gave us that. So sometimes I ask devotees what's their favorite book. Many say Chaitanya Charitamrita because that was the favorite book of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Some say Bhagavatam, some say Bhagavad Gita. Some of my godbrothers and godsisters, they say Prabhupada Lilamrita. How many times you've read it? Over and over and over. Svadhu, svadhu, pade, pade. Because it's not just transcendental knowledge. It's looking to the heart of our founder Acharya, of whom all of us have a very intimate relationship. It's not that the disciples of Prabhupada have more chance to become Krishna conscious because they took initiation from Prabhupada, or saw Prabhupada, or served Prabhupada. No. He's part of the Guru Parampara. He connects us to the whole Guru Parampara, his Guru Maharaj and his Guru Maharaj and the six Goswamis and all the way back to the Adi Guru Krishna. It's like an electric line. It comes from the powerhouse and it goes all the way across the city to some function. So wherever you cut into that electric line, you're going to get the same power. It's not that someone cut in, how they do sometimes in India, they cut into the power line. So you cut in there and someone else cuts there, he's going to get less power. No, you get the same power. That's Guru Parampara. Isn't it? It's wonderful. So by taking initiation, you're getting the kripa of all the acharyas from the past. Of course, you think it's all by the mercy of my Guru Maharaj, and it is. But that's how it's to be understood. So he wants to know more, just like I sometimes imagine, why didn't we, make more videos of Srila Prabhupada? Why didn't we more videos, more recordings of japa, chanting Hare Krishna, more bhajans. When Prabhupada came to Paris in 74, we said, Srila Prabhupada, there's many bhajans, can you record more? He said, yes, of course. He took harmonium right then and there, sat down and we recorded him. He was happy to do it, but we were naive and not so, anyway, how much more we could have done. At least we have that. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, there were recordings in those days. This was the 30s. There were radios, people were recording. I heard there's one recording of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in a television station now, was previously a radio station. They came and did a radio interview with Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. It was taped, but no one can find it. I volunteered. I'll go into that radio station, go all through those tapes. There's like thousands of miles, and I'll find it. We can hear his voice. So we want to hear about our spiritual benefactors, both what they say and what they do. So Vyasadeva is curious. What did my Guru Maharaj do? Actually, it says here, plural spiritual masters. This indicates that one can have a number of spiritual masters. More precisely, one has his Diksha Guru, but any number of Shiksha Gurus. I often tell my disciples that my solemn duty, because Guru means heavy, my solemn duty is to get my disciples home, to home. There's no place like home. Home is where the heart is, and the heart is meant to be with Radha and Krishna. So anything I can do to facilitate that journey, I encourage it. So I tell my disciples, if they see another initiating guru, a god brother, a god sister, or any devotee, for that matter, who's pakka, you can use that word here, pakka, and is strictly following and speaks well or shows a good example, I say, take that person's shiksha to heart. Just like here in ISV, I have disciples, but I'm so happy they're under the tutelage of Vaisheshika Prabhu. I sometimes tell them, I'm on one side, Vaisheshika's on the other side, and Prabhupada's pushing from behind. You better make it back to Godhead. So we can take shiksha from wherever we see it, if it's pakka. Actually, in that light, in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, I was reading the other day, there's a discussion between a king, Yadu Maharaj, and a mendicant named Dattatreya. And this Dattatreya, he was Avaduta. Avadut means they're just oblivious to this world. They're just totally absorbed in Krishna consciousness. I had one friend, Fakir Mohan. We were chanting japa some years ago. He's departed this world, but we were chanting japa together for hours. And he just stopped at one point and he said, Maharaj, I am not of this world. And I tell you, the hair on my, it wasn't ecstasy, but the hair on my arm stood up. He said, I am not of this world. And I said to him, Baba, I want to be just like you. He's a Gaudiya Vaishnava, initiated by a disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, or disciple of a disciple. Maharaj, I'm not of this world. So that's avadut. Therefore, they're kind of careless in the way they do things materially. They don't eat much, they don't sleep much. They're just chanting all day long, Hare Krishna, etc. So this Dattatreya, he was so detached, he used to travel naked without any belongings. And sometimes he was seen laughing, sometimes he was weeping, sometimes he was rolling on the ground. People thought he was crazy. Like Prabhupada said, we have to become mad for Krishna. So one time this king, Yadu Maharaj, met him and he said, Ayam Baba, you appear extremely happy, but I cannot understand your mood. Why are you weeping and laughing and rolling on the ground? So Dattatreya replied that I have become self-realized by the mercy of my guru. So the king, so he did, put two together and got four. You become self-realized by the mercy of a guru. That's also our understanding. We have our sadhana, and how good are we at our sadhana? We have our good days and our bad days. We actually make blessings. We make advancement by blessings. When we please our spiritual masters, when we please Mahaprabhu, when we please Krishna, like Shakespeare said it, it falleth from heaven like a gentle rain upon those below. We get kripa, Guru kripa, Krishna kripa. So the king, obviously he was a Raja Rishi, means that Raja Rishi is a king who's very expert at material affairs, because the Vedas also teach how to live a sensible life. So you have time to chant Hare Krishna. So he was a Raja Rishi. He was a saintly person sitting on the throne, Raja Rishi. So he said, you reached this ecstatic stage of self-realization. Who's your guru? Who's your guru? So Dattatreya, he smiled, he said, I have 24 gurus. The king said, yeah, but I know a little bit about the philosophy. Tadvidi partena paripashana sevaya upadikshati jnana. I know, you approach a guru, you inquire from him, you render service. The self-realized souls can give you knowledge because they see the truth. You have 24? Yes, I have 24. So the king said, who are they? I'll pick one. So Dattatreya said, no, they're all my gurus. What are they? So Dattatreya said, the earth, air, water, fire, the moon, the sun, the pigeon, the python, the ocean, the moth, the bumblebee, the elephant, the honey collector, the deer, the fish, the prostitute named Pingila, the hawk, the baby, the young unmarried girl, the arrow maker, the snake, the spider, and the wasp. So the king went, oh my gosh. Of course, we don't think of these things as gurus in the traditional sense. But if one uses his intelligence in Krishna consciousness, he can take lessons even from the material world. How? Because it's Krishna's creation. It's working under his direction. Aham sarvasya pavavo matta sarvam bhavartate. He said everything comes from him. All that's material and all that's spiritual. So it's his energy. So maybe we can look at it and get some inspiring ideas. And yes, we can. 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, opulence of the absolute. By seeing beautiful, powerful things, we see how Krishna is organizing this whole world. So we can get inspiration to some degree by studying the material world. For example, using our intelligence, which is God's special gift to human beings, because animals have intelligence, but insi, tinsi, winsi, binsi. What's that shloka from Rig Veda? Insi, winsi, tinsi, binsi. They know that if danger comes, run that way. If they know there's food, go eat it. We have buddhi, we have intelligence. So just like Buddha means the most intelligent one, the realized one. So we can observe with our intelligence, this material world's a miserable place. And that observation of matter encourages us to become detached. I'm done with it. Like they asked Prabhupada. Prabhupada said one time, I've been everywhere and seen everything. He circled the globe 12 times, right? I've been everywhere and I've seen everything. So one devotee said, well, what's your advice? Prabhupada said, take sannyas. Gradually. And then we can make a heartfelt decision to go back to God just by studying the material energy. It's material, but there's some lessons to be learned. The hardest lessons are the ones best learned. So sometimes we suffer because Krishna is allowing. So we become detached, like mommy tells the baby, don't touch the candle. I want to. Don't touch the candle. I want to. Okay, touch it. Oh, mommy, I told you. You listen to me next time. So by studying material nature, I hope we don't fall in love with it, but we can make a heartfelt, our intelligence can lead to us to a heartfelt decision as devotees. Actually, once a saintly person walked into an assembly of a king and his ministers, and he placed a human skull on the table. And he said, who here in this assembly, the king or the ministers, can tell me whether this person who had the skull was very intelligent or foolish in his lifetime? Isn't that interesting? He's got a skull there. So he's saying, who can tell by looking at this skull if this guy was a fool or intelligent during his lifetime? So all the ministers, they got bewildered. But finally, one of the ministers, his name was Kalidas, famous Kalidas, he took a straw and he put it in one ear of the skull and out the other. Whoop, went like that. So he said, this person was foolish. For if the straw would have gone in one ear and then down towards the heart, that would have indicated intelligence. It's a little subtle. Our intelligence our heart should be moved. I'm done with it. I'm out of here. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So with our intelligence, we should see the world as it is and make a heartfelt decision. I'm going home, back to God. Yeah. Actually, you probably have never heard that, but in the early days when I joined the movement, 1970, 1971, we would go in Harinam, we'd sing Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And at one point, the kirtan leader would start singing, because big people are passing by. Hey, we're going home, back to Godhead. We're going home, we're going home. People are like, what? Why don't you go to get a job? Why don't you work? This is our work. We're going home. So with our intelligence, we can see the world and make a heartfelt decision. Oh Lord, I'm drowning in this fathomless whirlpool of material existence. Oh, you who give shelter to the shelterless, please, just this one time, extend your hand and save me. This is a heartfelt prayer. So therefore, the spiritual master will often talk about material things, not spiritual things. I thought he was supposed to be a spiritual master, not a material. Yeah, but he'll talk about the material things in the proper context, just to convince us we don't have to travel 12 times around the world. We can hear from Guru. It's called lazy intelligence. You just sit, privacy of your home, you travel around the world by hearing. Those who know the world as it, either they've traveled around or they've realized it. Just sit in here and accept. He'll speak about material things to convince us, first of all, we can't be happy here and we should look for an alternative. For example, the Guru may speak like what's called Niti logic. Niti logic, or Niti Shastra, means encapsulating certain lessons from life. Niti Shastra, it's called. Chanaka Pandit wrote Niti Shastra, cute little things about the material world, just so you know how to live an intelligent life to avoid most of the miseries. Like, don't take drugs, don't gamble, no illicit sex. You're like, that's Niti Shastra. Just be intelligent, do things that keep you alive as long as possible so you can reach the goal. So the Guru will just speak Niti logic sometimes. Like, for example, the Guru may say, we now have taller buildings, but shorter tempers, right? We have tall buildings, but shorter tempers. We have wider highways, but narrower minds. We've conquered outer space, but we're still struggling with inner space. I sound like Vashishika. We buy more, but we enjoy it less. We've multiplied our possessions, but we've reduced our values. We lose our we lose our health trying to get wealth. And when we spend that wealth, we try to get our health back. This is not one of the 700 verses, but it helps, right? The Guru is speaking about material life. We have more experts, but less solutions. We have more degrees, but less sense. We've expanded in technology. We're more connected than ever, but we're further and further apart. Did that all make sense?
Yes.
I took it from one of my godbrother's lectures. I like to speak about Vrindavan. But it's interesting that Dattatreya said he had 24 gurus composed of matter, right? I mentioned this, they were all matter, right? Material things. But after lambasting material nature as a means to become detached, how can we refer to such things as some spiritual inspiration? Like he talked about those things, but those are material things. So how are we going to get inspired from them? Well, here's what he saw in matter. Because a pure devotee sees Krishna everywhere, he can see Krishna and get a lesson. From the earth, Dattatreya said, he learned tolerance and forgiveness. Because everyone's stomping on the earth, walking. We're abusing the earth nowadays. You know, we're raping the earth, the air, the seas for our sense gratification. So he said, from the earth, my guru, the earth, I learned tolerance and forgiveness. People dig the earth, they make houses, cities, but earth never complains. Tolerant and forgiving. Have you ever stepped on the ground and she complained? No. What did he learn from the air? The air is always detached. It can absorb a bad fragrance, he said, and a good fragrance, yet be detached. From the sky is everywhere, giving sunshine and rain, never asking for payment. Blessings freely given without discrimination. The sky. Water. What did he learn? He said water offers refreshment. When you take a bath, your body feels pure and refreshed. When you drink water, you feel refreshed. Our association with saintly persons is also refreshing. Fire, what did he learn from fire? Fire can burn impure things, but it always remains pure itself. Just like a sadhu can destroy our ignorance by his words. He's using power to destroy, he's burning up our desires, but he remains pure. The moon gives light in darkness. So that inspired him. So like this, one can have any number of Shiksha gurus. They can be personalities or just objects of the world. But this is how saintly persons see things. This is the meaning, again, of a devotee seeing Krishna everywhere. Just like Prabhupada, in 1962, there was the Indo-China War. Actually, India was at war with China, and they were exchanging bombs. So Prabhupada was sitting, he wrote one time, in his home in Calcutta, and the bombs were exploding around Calcutta. Some of the bombs were coming close to him. And his wife came and said, "Why don't you just leave this patio? Maybe the bomb will hurt you." He said, "No, everything's Krishna's desire. If the bomb hits our house, it's Krishna's arrangement." The Bible said there's a time to laugh, a time to cry, a time to sow, a time to reap, a time to be born, a time to die. So our deaths are determined by the Lord when he wants to take us to our next chapter of service or take us back to the spiritual world. So Prabhupada saw the bombs as Krishna. That's really seeing Krishna everywhere. So again, Vyasadev's interested to hear, what did my guru do after getting initiation? Because he wanted to follow in his footsteps. He wanted to be a good disciple. What's a good disciple? Very easy. You just reverse the video to that day you're sitting in front of your guru and you're taking your vows. Dear Guru Maharaj, I promise to follow 4 regulative principles, and I promise to chant 16 rounds every day. That's a good disciple. Because from that, everything will come. So you plant a good seed into the ground, beautiful flower will grow. So the seed of your devotional service is your promises. Don't make promises you can't keep. Guru Ma knows that shloka. That's a song from when we were young. Don't make promises like that. You want to be a good disciple. We don't want what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati described as Dandavat devotees. Dandavat devotees, he warned us of being the kind of disciple who pays full dandavats. Guru Maharaj, accept my humble obeisances. But in daily life, he can't keep up with the practices of Krishna consciousness. Another time, Prabhupada referred to disciples as sons of the mother or sons of the father. I read that, I thought, what does that mean? What does Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati mean? The sons are referred to, the disciples are sometimes referred to as sons of the mother and sons of the father. So he compared 2 different kinds of disciples. The sons of the mother are the kind of disciples who take advantage of the facilities offered by the Guru, much like a son enjoys the comfort of their mother's home. How many times when you were young did your parents ask you to take out the garbage or mow the lawn or make your bed? You went, oh. Well, maybe you didn't, but I did. Don't listen to me. My guru didn't make his bed. I was actually like that. Sorry, Mom. Then he said there's the sons of the father. That type of disciple we want to be. Disciples who take up the work or the profession or the business of their father. I've many times said recently. You see in India, Agarwal and Sons. Sharma and Sons. You don't see daughters. They get married and go off. And Agarwal and Sons. That's what he meant by sons of the father. Like when a son grows up, he takes the father's business. So a good disciple will take up the business of his guru. What was Prabhupada's business? Sitting at Radhakund and chanting? No. He could have done that. He was qualified to do that and more. He came on a boat, a cargo ship. It wasn't a passenger ship, a cargo ship. And he had heart attacks. And he sailed to the sea. When he got to America, he said to us, I didn't know whether to go left or right. But from that, everything came. So pushing on the mission. Of course, well, here you're pushing on the mission. Each and every one, to each his own, as we say in communism. Everyone has a particular ability which they're using. So therefore, the spiritual master loves all the disciples because he understands they're all works in progress. What they give when they're 5 may not be what they give when they're 25. And when they're 25, it may not be what they give when they're 75, perhaps with some realizations. But in this movement, all devotees are engaged in what? Missionary work. And that's why this yatra, ISV, and Sadhu Sangha, people kept asking me, what does ISV mean? Is it from the Rig Veda? No, it's from the Yajur Veda. ISKCON Silicon Valley. Here you have that sense of a missionary spirit. So that's why you're happy. This is a happy yatra. That's why I like to come here. You like to be around happy people. I have to go where people are sad because I have to preach. I go to the favelas and the townships, and where there's famine. In Sri Lanka, there was that hurricane. Where I go, but to get refreshed, I come to ISV, ISKCON Silicon Valley. Because why? Because you have that missionary spirit. Why do you have it? Because of Vaisheshika Prabhu and Guru Ma. We love you. Vaisheshika Prabhu in London. We're going to all cry out at one time. Maybe you'll hear us in London. 1, 2, 3. We love you. Oh, he's got a loud voice. He said, I love you too. Oh, he's coming back soon. Hare Krishna. So that missionary spirit, that's real adventure. I had this sense when I was young, even before Krishna consciousness, because I heard a quote from a Quaker. His name was Stephen Grellet. And somehow it just touched my heart. I didn't know why at the time, but I don't know, maybe Krishna had a plan. He said, I shall pass this way but once. Any good that I can do or any kindness I can show to any human being, let me do it now. Let me not defer nor neglect it, for I shall not pass this way again. I was a teenager, I heard that. Right? I shall pass this way but once. Any good I can do or any kindness I can show to any human being, let me do it now. Let me not defer nor neglect it, for I shall not pass this way again. So when I heard that, I was in high school and kind of resonated with my heart, but I didn't know what it meant, how to do good for others. I was thinking maybe after I graduated from high school, I'd join the Red Cross. We had the Peace Corps, remember? We had the police. Many of my friends joined the Peace Corps. They went around the world and helped people in different ways. But it wasn't until I became a devotee, I understood the full purport and the meaning. And that is to help others by giving them prasadam, a book, or the mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Prabhupada would refer to that as spiritual welfare, because by that welfare, you go back to the spiritual world and all problems are solved. So let us be the sons of the Father, right? Not sons of the Mother, stay in the temple, come for the Sunday feast. Unfortunately, that happens sometimes. Devotees end up, with all due respect, coming to the temple for the Sunday feast. We want to be sons of the Father, to give our blood, sweat, and tears to the mission of Guru and Gauranga. And we'll see that here in the Bhagavatam that Vyasadev's inquiry will show that his spiritual master, Narada Muni, did just that. because he was a preacher and he goes anywhere and everywhere. He's one of the best. He always tried his best, if you read the Bhagavatam, but he wasn't always successful. It wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault, but the people whom he preached to weren't just ready. But still you have to try, especially in this age. We've got Lord Chaitanya. People get some special mercy. But a preacher has to learn this. He has to be tolerant, isn't it? Sometimes you approach people with books. They're not at all interested, right? Oh, you want so much of them to take the book or the set, but they just don't. And maybe you meet 5, 10, 20 people in that day. Am I correct? But that's just the way it is. But you can't get discouraged. Actually, there's a nice pastime of Narada Muni in that regard, trying his best. We can take inspiration from it. Narada Muni has a special service that he goes back and forth between the material world and spirit. He's the only one. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, having once come back home, you never go back to the material world. But he's such a selfless personality, Narada Muni. He's with Krishna in the spiritual world, but he comes to the material world, he travels, he makes so many different disciples, Vyasa, Prahlad, Dhruva, so many. Then he goes back into the spiritual world, and he gets to report. Like in my life, every year, I do service in the West, and when I come to India, to Kartik, I always go to Prabhupada's Samadhi. Guru Maharaj, this is what I did. Like a kid shows a report card to his parent. I'm like, Prabhupada, this is what I did this year. I hope you're pleased. I do my obeisances. So he's the eternal spaceman. He's up and back and here and there, going back and forth and so on and so on. So one time he was with Krishna in the spiritual world, and Krishna asked him, he said, you know, there's somebody down there in the material world called Chandulal. Chandulal. Have you ever met him? Do you think he's interested in coming back home? I remember him. He left. But we may forget Krishna, but Krishna never forgets us. Let's applaud that. So Krishna's thinking, what about this Chandulal? Have you ever met him? And Narada said, no, I haven't met him. So Krishna said, well, when you go next time, try to meet him and convince him to come home. So on his next sojourn to the material world, Narada Muni did in fact track down Chandulal. He found him. So one day he went to his house. He knocked on the door. So Chandulal, he was like pious, recognizing a great saint. He invited Narada Muni into his home. He said, Maharaj, we're very happy to see you. Please come inside and sit for a while. So Narada Muni said, no time for that. Life is short and then you die, Chandulal. But you're fortunate. Krishna's inquired about you. He's inviting you back home to the spiritual world. Come on, jump on my back. Let's go. Something like that. So Chandulal, he said, yes, Krishna's very great. He's very kind. But Narada, look, I just got married. My wife's very young. She's very beautiful. If I leave her now, that would not be proper. Give me some time, and then I'll come with you. Narada Muni said, okay, well, all right. When should I come back? How much time do you need? So Chandulal said, let my wife settle down, a couple of kids, she'll forget about me, and I'll come with you. Come back in a few years. So Narada Muni left and traveling around, and then, he spent some time, some years, and then he came back. And when he came back, he saw that all of Chandulal's children had grown and moved on. He was gone so long, the children grew and they were all gone. So he said to Chandulal, well, that part's over. You just couldn't go because you got married and you had these kids. You're going to have kids, and I didn't even see them, but they're all grown up now. So let's go. So Chandulal replied, Maharaj, I'm ready, but you can see one problem. My mother's old, and now she's living with us. I can't leave now. Come back in a few years, and I'll be ready to go. That'll be fine. Narada said, Yo, okay, these are good reasons, but time's running out. So Chandulal said, no worries, no worries. I will come with you. So many years later, Narada Muni returns to Chandulal's house. And by this time, his mother had passed away. So Narada Muni said, oh, okay, Chandulal, now's the time to go. Now's the time to go. Come on, let's go. I'll take you back to Godhead. Chandulal said, not just yet. I need to take care of my grandchildren. My sons and daughters had lots of kids, so I have to take care of my grandchildren. Come back in a few years. Oh boy. So Narada Muni flew around and came back in a few years. Even the grandchildren had grown up. So Narada Muni said, everyone's gone. Your mother passed away. Your wife passed away. Grandchildren passed away. The grandchildren. So come on, Chandulal. Chandulal said, he pointed to the old family dog. But if I come with you back to the spirit, who's going to feed my dog? Come back in a few years. Oh boy, Narada Muni said, what am I going to do? So he went and he came back a long time later, only to find, when he arrived in the yard, one little puppy. Seemingly very attached to the house. Hint, hint, hint. A little puppy. Narada Muni said, Chandulal, now it's too late. Look at you. You've lost all hope. Woof, woof, woof. But I'll try again when you go through the cycle of birth and death. And one day you come and be an intelligent human being. And you'll listen to me and you'll take it to heart. And you'll chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. So we don't want to be like Chandula. I don't know if he made it. Maybe he did. I'm sure everyone's destined one day to go back home, back to Godhead, but sooner than later. So we have full facility to go back home, back to Godhead. We're lucky. We're born in Kali Yuga. How can you say that? Well, the demigods, Prabhupada said, are waiting in the heavenly planets to take birth on the earth planet because there's a concession made. Just by chanting, you can achieve the same result that the rishis and yogis and mystics did in the past, just in the comfort of your home by working in IT with Google or Microsoft and coming home to your children and seeing them grow up and having their grandchildren, because whenever that moment comes, that Yamaraj comes to take you, for sure, because of your good training, and especially living at ISKCON Silicon Valley Temple, you'll be accustomed to chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, and maybe Narada Muni will appear before you and he'll say, let's go, jump on my back home, back to Godhead. Krishna wants you home. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.